G'day guys, Rob here and welcome back to the channel. Well, I've got another model review for you guys today, and this is not a new model by any means. It's not even a few years old. I would call this one a vintage model because I think this was made over 20 years ago. Now, I've been wanting to fill a bit of a gap in my Ferrari F1 car timeline. I recently reviewed the Look Smart Ferrari 641 F1 car driven by Alain Prost, and the next one I have is the F2005 by Michael Schumacher. So I was trying to find a F1 model car that would fit in between those two cars, and this one is something I picked up on eBay. So this is the 1996 season, driven by Michael Schumacher, and this is the Ferrari F412 T2. Now, considering this model is over 20 years old, it's actually in pretty good shape, but I thought it would be interesting to actually have a look at it, do a bit of a review on it, and actually see what sort of difference there is between the quality of a F1 model that was made over 20 years ago compared to what we are seeing in the hobby today. So yeah, not a new model by any means, but something that yeah, is still available. There are a few of these on eBay, and I'm sure there's some floating around stores around the world as well. But yeah, model looks pretty interesting, so I thought I'd have a look and show you guys as well. So we'll put it on the turntable and have a closer look. Okay, so first impressions of the model, it's reasonably basic, but it serves its purpose on display. I think it looks pretty good for something that is over 20 years ago. Now, as I say, this is the 1996 model car, so usual model makers make these models a couple of years after the real car. So I would say that this was actually manufactured by Minichamps somewhere in the late 90s. So I think it's definitely 20 years plus old, but it is going to fill a little bit of a timeline in my collection. Now, one thing I did notice when I unscrewed it from the box, which was a bit of a surprise, was these little jockey wheels here, which is, I guess it was sort of like a bit of a wind-up, which is like a toy rather than a collectible. Now, even though Minichamps, which was Paul's model art, is making collectible cars back then, really strange to see these toy wheels in the bottom of it. So I think it was basically you could pull the car backwards and then it would drive forward like a toy. So yeah, really quite weird to see that on a collectible car, but maybe they used to do that with these old model cars in the 90s. If anyone's got some more information about that, I'd love to know, but that's a first of any model I've ever bought. But overall, paint finish is pretty good for, as I say, a model that is over 20 years old. You can see some of the decal lines, like this one is in one big piece, so it's a little bit dull through the top there. But as I say, overall, it's actually in pretty good condition, the paintwork on this model for 20 years old. Now, of course, back then there was no carbon fiber decals on models. All the spoilers and everything are just in a, well, gloss black, but it's starting to dull a little bit plastic. And same as all the rear wing as well. All the diffusers and all the aero parts, suspension parts, they're just all in matte black plastic. It does actually have steering though, so that's a good thing. The wheels are replicated pretty well for that time period, and the slick tyres, Goodyear tyres, actually look pretty good as well with the yellow markings on there too. So it does have lots of decals on it, so you've got all your Shell sponsorship as usual, long-time partner of Ferrari. You've got all your decals on the end plates of the rear wing. The only thing it's missing is the Marlboro cigarette decals. Maybe that's something I can change, but it just has all the usual decals all around the body. Again, just the barcode instead of the Marlboro logos, and a little bit of detail in the back with the rain lights and little jack assemblies, things like that. But yeah, there's not a lot. These models are pretty basic, but as I say, I bought it just to fill the timeline. So there are obviously much more higher detailed models of these older F1 cars now coming from Looksmart, and also GP Replicas are making a lot of these older ones now, but they're obviously a lot more expensive, in the few hundred euro mark or higher. But yeah, overall, not too bad. The little driver figurine of Michael Schumacher's all right. Really basic inside. You do have some racing harnesses in there, and the steering wheel instrumentation is pretty basic too. But look, as I say, model cars of 20 plus years ago compared to today's model cars, these are getting quite crude, I guess, and not as detailed, but you know, it is what it is. This was where the hobby was all those years ago, but I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a quick look at this model car of the 90s. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise with the toy wheels in the bottom of it as a pull-push toy, but I guess when it's sitting on the ground or in my display case on an angle, you're not going to see those wheels. But that's pretty much going to be the review. There's not really a lot to show you on these model cars, but you know, that is what the hobby was. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's review. If you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button too, and catch you on the next video. But until next time, thanks for watching Rob's Model Cars.